Hi everyone, Rob here from 6 Elements Fitness, and today I want to explain to you how you burn calories 24/7. It's important to know this number whether you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, because there is this notion that people believe we only burn calories when we're in the gym doing the workout, but it's not true. In fact, there's 4 ways in which you burn calories 24/7 all day, every day. So let's get right into it. Okay, so kicking off with your foundation, which is your BMR, otherwise known as your basal metabolic rate. Now this in essence is baseline. This is being bed bound, and yes, you still burn calories during that time. This is because depending on your height, your age, your weight, your gender, your muscle mass, your fitness level, your body still has to keep the lights on to keep that going. So as I've mentioned, how tall you are, what age you are, what your gender is, if you can say that nowadays, how much muscle you have on your frame. This all contributes to how much energy it requires for your body just to keep that alive. This is why people in comas, even when they're bed bound, can still lose weight. Now, there's only so much we can do to contribute towards this. The main one being, be as fit as you can be, add as much muscle on your frame as you can. Now, the next 3 we're going to speak about is everything a step above being in bed. And this brings us into NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. In simple terms, it's what I'm doing now. I'm talking, I'm standing, I'm fidgeting with my hands, but I'm not necessarily exercising. Now, these small, almost forgotten about movements contribute to a whole 15% of your expenditure. Meaning if you can stand up more, if you can walk more, if you can fidget more, these small movements add up and they compound to a massive part of your day. And we can play into this by obviously getting our steps up, trying to hit at least 10,000 steps a day, standing at every opportunity where you can versus sitting down. And my favorite one is always take the stairs instead of the lift or the escalator. It's these small habits daily that contributes to just being a more daily active person. Other little things, you can park further away from the shopping centre in order to walk further. If you work from home, could you get a standing desk? If you're having to take a work call or a phone call, whatever it may be, can you do that walking? Now, there's loads of ways where you can just inject these little bits of activity day to day where you can. And that's probably the most overlooked component in my opinion, because everyone loves coming to the gym, and I get that. But if for the remaining 15 hours of the day, you're barely moving, it's going to be an uphill battle for you. Now we're on TEF, which is the thermogenic effect of feeding. As you can imagine, when we ingest food, it actually costs our body a little bit of energy to break that down. That process burns calories. Now, depending on where your calories come from, you can burn more through that process for free. Now, this is why PTs, fitness instructors, gym owners, we all bang on about protein, not just because of the muscle repair fact, the fact that it keeps you fuller for longer, less chance of snacking. But the secret weapon is that you burn the most calories through eating protein than any other nutrient. Meaning 300 calories of protein, you are going to burn 20 to 35% of that purely through digestion. Whether it's steak, fish, eggs, chicken, whatever it might be, that's expensive for the body to use. Now, I'm not saying carbs or fat are bad. All of these nutrients are necessary for everyone. However, 9 times out of 10, people aren't eating enough of this and they have way too much of this. So a simple hack is if you can incorporate a little bit more protein to your diet, a little bit less carbs, just that switch alone for the same amount of calories, you will actually be burning more. Plus the aforementioned points, all the work you've done in the gym, protein's going to help repair that, and it keeps you fuller for longer. Whereas if you have a carbohydrate rich meal, 9 times out of 10 within the hour, you're kind of hungry again. So, protein. And that brings us on to the cherry on top, which is exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, as a gym owner, a PT, it pains me to say this, but your gym workout is actually the smallest contributor per day to your calorie expenditure. So with that said, I'll take my badge off, and that's us out of business. No, in all seriousness, we all know exercise is fantastic. It actually helps contribute to the previous mentioned factors. For example, if you train, more than likely you're going to make better food choices. If you can add more muscle on your frame, your basal metabolic rate will be a little bit higher. And if you're an active gym person, more than likely you're going to carry that habit into everyday life. You're going to walk more, stand more, etc. But the fact still remains that exercise 1 hour a day at most is still only going to be 4% of your day, in which case it's only 5% of your daily expenditure. Of course, this then comes down to the intensity of the exercise, the the duration of the exercise, the loads, how heavy was it, and how often are you exercising per week. This should really hit home to the fact that you could have the most intense workout for an hour to 90 minutes, super heavy, you're doing that every day of the week. That's still only a small percent of your expenditure. And there is arguments to say that there's detriments to doing too much in the gym. Because if you come to the gym for 1 hour, one class, two classes, 2 hours back to back, and then you're fucked and you don't get your knees up, you don't walk, you can't be bothered standing, so you sit down at every opportunity. Your cravings go through the roof, so you just eat carbohydrates. You can see now how the full picture has to be addressed. Yes, we want to exercise. We want to be promoting muscle growth. We want to be getting a sweat on. It's good to burn calories, don't get me wrong. It's my business. But that really just goes to show that the picture is much bigger than what we thought. So if you are going to the gym, you're burning 500 calories, please don't be under the impression that that's it for the day. And that to be in a calorie deficit, you have to be eating less than that. Because if that was the case, we would have to be in the gym for hours on end. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the total daily energy expenditure and the equation for the miracle that is fat loss. In simple terms, we eat 2,000 calories a day. We now know that it's not just the 500 calories we do in the gym, it is in fact that combined with the energy expenditure from the foods we eat, the small daily habits from walking to standing, etc. And of course, the big player, BMR, how tall are we, how young are we, how much muscles do we have? All of that added up may equate to a lot more than you think. And we only have to be under that number by about 20% in order to lose body fat. So when someone says you should eat roughly around X amount, and in your head you think, oh, that's way too much, hopefully now you realize actually it might not be, because there's a lot of factors at play in which we expend energy. So I hope that clears things up. I hope now you understand that when you go to the gym, it's just one factor. When you take the stairs, you're playing into that. When you reach for protein, you're increasing your expenditure. All of that combined is what will determine whether you lose weight or gain weight, depending on this equation. In another video, I'm going to explain a bit more deeply how we lose body fat. But for now, you understand how we burn calories.